There we go. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. In the name of His only begotten Son. Hold on, IQ. Calm down over there. Calm down over there, IQ. Had to check my sound. So looks like everything's coming through. All praises. Shalom to the family. Shaq in the house. Namwa in the house, man. Appreciate y'all cleaning the feet, man. You know what? Let me go ahead and make sure that the reminders is clear. You know, just make sure it's clear. Let me stop that thing from moving. I know a little different timing for DSTM. Yeah, we're gonna close out the Shabbat with a DSTM this go round. How about that? You got to keep these heathens guessing. You know, they get used to the routine, the timing, and all that, man. Then they start sending in bots and doing whatever, man. We got to figure this whole thing out, man. All I know is the shadow ban is still going on heavy. Uh, Notifications ain't going out, man. They trying to make sure that our voices over here isn't too loud in this internet spectrum. But you know, it is what it is, man. It can get frustrating, you know, dealing with these damn heathen, man, in this beast system, and them trying to shut down us, putting out this truth. You know, they're trying to frustrate the grace of the Most High and us being able to go out here and teach this word and utilize their platforms to do so. And you know, they trying to make us quit and be like, you know what, the hell with this, man. Ain't nobody watching. They shutting down the views. They can't get us up, but we can't stop. We can't stop, man. The word is going to go to who it's supposed to go to. You dig what I'm saying? The Most High even said, man, even if you got to prophesy to the wind, you do that. Hopefully everybody's well, man. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Who we got in the house, man? Kohaf, shalom to you, my brother. Shalom to you, Ashar Rawak. Shalom to you, Shabbat shalom. All praises. I'm glad y'all getting yours. Some people ain't. Uh, it just kind of is what it is at this point, man. I can't even be uh crying over spilled milk and sounding like a damn, you know, recorder with the frustrations. But you know, we good. We are good. All right. Let me share that scripture. Matter of fact, you know, because regardless of how these heathen man be trying to control us and run the show, the Most High even told us in Ezekiel 37:9. It says, "Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Most High, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain that they may live." So this is talking about the valley of the dry bones. The Most High said that you got to prophesy unto the wind. We have to put the word out there. It has to be known, proven, and shown, so that the word can come. You know, get out there and marinate in the minds of our people. Uh, I just want this other scripture. The Most High said, "It's never in vain." Isaiah 55:11. It says, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." So the Most High lets us know that, you know, regardless of uh, the issues that we may deal with technically, the hate that comes from, you know, the backlash of our enemies, you know, trying to navigate and utilize this system of the beast, man, to promote and push the word of the Lord. He said it doesn't matter, man. Push it out there, prophesy to the wind. It's not going to return void. It's going to land on and accomplish what it's supposed to accomplish. So whether we see it in the, you know, right in front of our eyes, the results, you know, because we're in this microwave, you know, generation now that instant results, instant satisfaction, instant answers is always, you know, what the preferable choice is for the masses. You want it right now. If I can't see it, I don't believe it. If I can't touch it, you know, that's a faithless generation. So the Most High said, we put it out there faithfully. We believe and understand it's going to hit who it's supposed to hit. We've done our job at MOTC. We whoever it touches, that's who the Most High said. That's who y'all are supposed to be responsible for. Whoever, but everybody else doing whatever they doing, that's what they're responsible for. It is what it is. But Most High willing, man, we gonna Keep fighting against this beast, man. Even though they're trying to silence and shut us up and do everything, it doesn't matter. We keep going. We keep going. Hopefully everybody's understanding and with me on that. Shalom to Allah Dad. I see you in the house, my brother. Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right. So I just stopped sharing. Let me present my screen one more time. Let's look at a few scriptures, man, because obviously we got a few things to discuss, man. There's a new plague on the. You know what? Let me look at this. Let me look at this one report, man. I had this. Uh, I had this thing years ago, and I kind of fell off of it because it kind of seemed a little bit of the conspiratorial, too heavy on the conspiratorial side, but at the same time, seeing what's going on now is very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see here. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Okay. All right. So let's look here. We're gonna look at a few scriptures, and then we'll start getting into some of these matters of the world. So as you see on the title, the Marburg plague. There's a whole new plague coming around that obviously is going to be weaponized against our people and against the world. They ran the dry run, the beta test with the last thing. We ain't gonna mention it, but you know what we're talking about. We all lived through it for the last 2.5 years, and they're still trying to push it even more. Um, but there's a new one that's coming up, way more deadly, way more scary than the last one. And right now it's over in Africa. You know how they always play. Everything comes from either Africa or Asia, man. The white man, he's so super clean. Nothing ever he touches, nothing he's ever done has exposed masses to disease and death. Go tell that to the Native Americans, and let's find out if the smallpox and everything else. Go tell that to our ancestors, man, that dealt with Tuskegee, so forth and so on. I mean, we know about the biological events that took place at the hands of our oppressors. But the narrative is always it's the dirty stinking Africans that's always over there spreading these diseases, Ebola, AIDS, everything else. And then if it ain't that, then it's the Asians. They done did something that started a new epidemic. Now there's a new one, Marburg. If y'all ain't heard about it, we're gonna see it and talk about it a little bit today. Marburg coming out of Africa. Everybody's seeing what's going on with the train in Ohio and the toxic uh, environment that and really damn near like a whole nuclear fallout over there in East Palestine, Ohio, where the whole town had to evacuate because of the toxic gases and the fires that the state and the government let off and told everybody after 5 days it's safe to go back. People are going over there seeing all the toxic levels of their water and everything else all jacked up. We're gonna talk about that. Was there a cover up involved in that? Are they trying to make it less than it really is? How less serious than it really is? What are they covering up? What are they hiding? Is there a history regarding trains, crashes, toxic spills, toxic waste? Going all over the place, purposefully infecting and killing people. Is there something going on with that? How about 9/11 when those buildings came down and they was telling all the first responders and all that. Yeah, no, it's fine. Go ahead. Run into the buildings. Go save the people. Didn't tell everybody about the asbestos that was all in there, man. A large majority of those people, man, have all got cancer now, if they're still alive, because they were told, oh, it's fine. Don't worry. So, what's going on with this toxic mess that's going on in the Midwest? And why are they being told everything's fine? You got a plethora of world leaders that's jumping ship and running. What are they running from? Why are they resigning? Why are they making regime changes throughout the world? What's changing in the earth right now? Let's find out. Let's find out. All right. We're gonna start off here, man. Let me share my screen. Want to make sure everything's solid because I know last time Was streaming for down there 20, 30 minutes, man, and didn't recognize that I wasn't sharing my screen. But I'm good now. All right. Um, let's start off in the scriptures, man. Let's go to Daniel. Let's see how the most high works. Daniel 2, and let's read 21. Well, actually, we're gonna read 20 and 21. Daniel answered and said, "Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his." So Daniel is establishing the power and the authority of the Most High, not to be mistaken with anything else, right? Verse 21, it says, "And he changeth the times and the seasons." It's not, the so-called white man is taking upon himself to change seasons and times. Daniel 7 and 25, it says he thinks to change times and laws, but because we have an understanding of our true essence of time, judgment, the calendar and things of that nature, because we search, study, and understand how the Most High operated times, that's why he's thinking to make those changes. And to the masses, he has. He's made multiple calendars, from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, the Babylonian calendar. All the nations have created particular calendars that people are following to this day. To this day. Now you also have, he changes the times of the days. Oh, 12 o'clock at night is a new day. When does that ever happen in the seasons of the Most High? It hasn't. You know, he's changing the seasons. He's got harp. He's got weather manipulations. He's got all kind of things where all of a sudden, you have late winters. Oh, all of a sudden you got tornadoes happening when it ain't in season. He's utilizing and manipulating seasons, having people question, why is it still snowing and it's middle April in certain areas, like a year or two ago. That was going on. So he's manipulating all these things, but the Most High is the one who does it all. He's in control of everything. The white man is trying to be like the Most High. Daniel is making this clear. He said, "And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding." So our wisdom and our knowledge comes from the Most High. When we pray, when we fast, when we seek out the Lord, when we search the scriptures, as the scriptures say, that wisdom and knowledge that we accumulate all comes from the Most High. Yes, does he put men in front of us to teach us and make sure that we're accumulating further knowledge, further edification? Absolutely. That's how it goes. But the Most High said that even unto that man that taught, he got it from the Most High. Now, he also said that he removes kings and he sets up kings. So the Most High is the ultimate chess player. So when we're seeing all of these things happening on the grand scale of the of world events, it's the Most High doing it. When you're seeing all of these nations positioning themselves into warfare mode, putting themselves into strategic locations so that they can be prepared for World War III. That's the Most High making these moves. When we're going to see and read about all of these particular world leaders that's resigning and running. What are they running from? Why are they resigning? Who's taking their place? That's the Most High. What's the purpose of them resigning and leaving? That's the Most High. All of the kingdoms that preceded up until now was all done by the Lord. From Egypt to Assyria, to Babylon, the Persians and the Medes, to the Greeks and the Romans, to America, French, German, Russian, all of these particular regimes, that's all from the Lord. So everything that we're seeing right now is all strategically being done because the Most High is sanctioning these things for the end time judgment, for the deliverance of the children of Israel. So it shouldn't be some wonder, well, why can't we just have peace? How come, we just don't go over there and we just bomb this and bomb that? How come, the Russians are doing this? It's because the Most High is slowly but surely moving the chess pieces on the board to bring forth the final judgment of the end times. So let's look at Daniel. Daniel 4, verse 17. It says, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men." So even within all of the kingships that we have here, the world leaders, the parliament leaders, so forth and so on, the Most High is ruling and controlling all of them. He rules in the kingdom of man, and it says, "And it giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of men." So when we see Esau ruling, he say he's the basis of men. Job tells us that. Let's look at that in Job. I think it's Job 30. He said, how could a no people, dumbed down, ignorant, wicked people like the so-called white, how could they be ruling? Job 30, and let's read verse 3. We're gonna read down. Um it says, for one, well, let's start at verse 1. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose my fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Well, you say, well, Esau was the elder. How is he saying that? Because the birthright was given unto who? Jacob. So now Esau is looked at as the younger. Esau is looked at as the one who's out here having our people in derision. How did he do that? He changed our history. He changed our language. He changed our names. He changed the locations of what we looked at as our homeland. He's got us divided amongst racial lines. When he created that racial table, and he says, "Oh, you the black, yellow, black, black, brown. What's he say? Black, brown, yellow, white, red. All of these simple, crayon box colors to define people." He did that, and then when he separated the nations, he said, "Well, you're black, you're Mexican, you're Puerto Rican, you're Dominican, you're Native American, but of these particular tribe, he sets up all these forms of derision, even giving us the so-called quote unquote Black History Month. Again, black is a derogatory term when you're describing the legacy of a nation of people. Just by saying, well, what is it? Oh, this is the month of the evil, the wicked, the devoid of light, the shady, the shisty. Definitively, that's what black means. To say, well, this is their month and it's the shortest month of the year. I mean, come on, he's continually moving in the derision. And Job said these same individuals he would not disdain to have set with the dogs of his flock. Why would he say, man, I don't even trust him around my dogs? Because what does he do? We've seen the debauchery that the so-called white man does when it comes down to his relationship with dogs. He's got no problem running around here. Come on, Nick. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but some old ignorant Negro is driving down the street who's in derision, speaking of the word, listening to Keith Sweat at the loudest of who knows what. I mean, on the Sabbath, man. Still like it, man. That just threw me off. Anyway, the Lord said that these Esau has our people in derision. He said that Job wouldn't even trust him with his dogs. And you say, well, that's kind of harsh. Well, look, we've seen this sexual debauchery that the so-called white man does. He's the only one in certain I believe in England, there's a woman that married her dog. We've seen and understood about various different things, sexual things that they've done with dogs. Why the Most High even say that part of the law says that we're not to lay with beast as you would mankind? Obviously, bestiality was something that was going on, that was common amongst the nations. Egypt, the Canaanites, the Most High said not to do of the works after them in Leviticus 18. And I believe it's verse 2. So clearly, these were the things that they were doing. And who did the so called white man adopt and take these things from? Well, you already know. He's not an originator of anything. He's always stealing and snatching up ideas and doing things for his own gain. So Job said, I don't even trust him with my dogs, man. Not to say it's all sexual, but hey, these are the only people, man, who love letting their dogs lick them all on the face and they tongue kissing the dogs and all of that. Continue on. It says, yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine they are solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste. So the so-called white man really had no power, no recognized world global power until the time of the Greeks in 331. 331 BC is now 331 to 333. His complete rise of power, 333. 331, they started all the wars, took over from the Persians and the Medes. Darius was overthrown. Now we've got the Greeks ruling. Up until that point, man, the so-called white man was a vagabond. Living in Petra, he had his little mountainous regions in Mount Seir, so forth and so on, but was never a world power. He was subservient to all the other nations, acclimating to his rulers. After 331, 333 BC, okay, now he's coming into power. Then during the Dark Ages in 193 AD, all the way to like 15th century, he again was not of any power. So want, famine, solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, going back to the caves of Georgia, Russia. That's when he went back into famine and solitude. Then that's when they come out under the Khazarian Empire and they start learning and converting into the ways of Judaism, picking sides of whether or not they were going to learn Islam or were they going to follow up the ways of the Jews, getting recruited into armies to fight until they had an overthrow of themselves, overthrow of power within themselves, and they was put back in power, as the scripture said. So this is a so-called white man. He was living in these destitute circumstances. Verse 4 says, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat? They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief. Well, who's a thief that nobody wants to deal with? All the nations, the scriptures even tell you all the nations going to hiss at them. The 10 horns are going to turn their back on the so-called white man and the beast in the Babylon. So it says they're driven forth from among men. They became outcasts, man. Nobody wanted to deal with them. You want to know about the Neanderthals and the Yeti and the damn Sasquatch, the red and hairy guy? That's Esau. You ain't got to worry about where's Bigfoot at. He's running around shaving now, walking around here erect on two legs now instead of four, running corporations off of stolen. Many a times they've stolen ideas, inventions, and things of that nature. Man, profiteering off of the wisdom and the knowledge that was bestowed upon Israel and some of the other nations. Only thing that he knows how to create is weapons. The Most High said that, and he said, "Listen, he's going to live by the sword." So that's one thing I'll give him is he knows how to make them weapons. But it said they cried after them as a thief. Well, everything he steals, from ideas to lands to people, right? Verse 6, to dwell in the clefts of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. So the cave dwellers, that's him. Verse 7, it says, among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Well, what did the scripture say about Esau in Hebrews? About there being none as a fornicator than Esau. Let's go back to Daniel. I'm opening up one more tab too. Look at this. It said, man, there was none viler than him. Hebrews 12 and 16 says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Man, it said, lest there be anybody that's worse than him. When it comes to profane fornication, that's Esau, man. You leave the profane, that word is everything that's against anything that's holy. That's Esau. And the Most High said, well, guess what? I set him up. He's the child of one of the basest men. That's why the Most High told us in Deuteronomy 32, he said that he was going to make us jealous with a foolish nation. I mean, how worse can it be when you let somebody like him rule over us? This guy is there's all the movies that he's talked about. He's Dumber Than Dumber, Liar Liar, The Devil's Advocate. Everything else he's talking about, the devil in the blue dress. He's got a show called Lucifer. I mean, how much more do we need to know of who the profane is? And who's the basis of men? The lowest of the low, man. Look, This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth to whomsoever he will. He setteth up over it the basis of men. So when Esau's in control, that is because of our downfall, and he took the lowest of the low to make us jealous over his rulership. Let's look at that real quick. And I don't even want to go on a whole tangent about this guy, but it is what it is. Look at this. Verse 21. They have provoked me, this Deuteronomy 32:21. They have provoked me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanity, speaking about the children of Israel. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. So the Most High said that we were going to be provoked to jealousy, looking and seeing these people and saying, why are they in control? Why are they putting us in bondage and captivity? Why am I having to clean the outhouse and the back house? And why am I building up these plantations? Why am I building up these corporations that I'm not getting recognized? Why am I the first hired in the last? I mean, the last hired and the first fired. It said those which are not a people. By Oxford Dictionary, I shared this a while back. The word Caucasian, Caucasoid, means subhuman, subhuman species. That's his definition. Sub meaning below. So he is below human. So when the Most High said, these are not a people, by his own definition, he says, yeah, I agree. And he says he's going to provoke us to anger with a foolish nation. I mean, well, who's more foolish than the so-called white man? He's the one who made millions of dollars off a show called Jackass on MTV years ago, and has created a whole culture after that. People just doing foolishness for clout and for exposure. A whole market of people has came out of that birth of being fools, all for clout. That's where it all started. But the Lord said, "This is a foolish nation that's ruling over us." That's why the Most High said, "Well, you can see why some of the things that's going on in the earth is all because of we've got a fool running things." I mean, slow Biden is a perfect example. You want to talk about a fool and a base man? This guy can't even put, three sentences together without blinking and fumbling and doing whatever he be doing, falling upstairs. Job 12 and 18, it says, He loosed the bond of kings and girded their loins with a girdle. So the Most High is the one who puts in the strength, the power. Look, verse 16, it says, With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver is his. So the Most High is in complete control of everything. So everything that we're seeing on the global stage, world stage, these nations that are running things, the deception and the deceiver that believes these things, the Most High is in control of that. And he said he looses up the bonds of kings. So when it's time for one king to lose his grip on reality and lose his grip on the world and world dominance and control, that's the Most High. That's how the kingdom is going to be transferred into the hands of the children of Israel. No other way, man. We're not going to vote our way into it. We're not going to strong arm our way into trying to get the kingdom back and up. The Lord said, unless he does it and we're fighting with his spirit, it's not happening. The Most High has to move and push things in position so that we can get what we get. Um, let's look at this in Psalm 75, verse 5 and 7. It says, Lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So the Most High is in control of everything that we're seeing right now. We got to understand and know why he's doing these things. It's all for our benefit. It's all for us to be delivered. It's all everything that we got. You can't be sitting back saying, "Man, I don't want to see World War What." Listen, it has to go down. This is why we're seeing it be drawing closer and closer. The headlines is, forever and a day popping out at us, live and in the color, and we're saying, "Dang, it's really happening. Dang, it's really going down. Dang, again, another one. What? Yeah, it's serious. It's serious like that." Um, Let me open up this. Oops, lucky. Let me go back over here. So let's start this thing off. Let's start this thing off. All right. So this is very interesting. This is a headline gotten today. And it says, according to the U.S., Russia has committed crimes against humanity in Ukraine. So now this can only lead towards, if you're citing that a nation is committing crimes against humanity, they've already did the sanctions, they've already, funneled weapons, money, everything into helping Ukraine fight. So now if they're saying, well, human lives are being put at risk. Crimes against humanity now becomes an international crime. Does this now mean that NATO and the UN are going to join in now and say we've got a reason now to join in on this fight? We've got a reason now to enact World War III. Can we, enact this Article 5 that we got on the international stages of warfare, or what's acceptable and what isn't? Can we create a reason why we can, speed this thing up a little bit? Why are they doing this? Because if we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks, Russia's been committing themselves to this particular offensive. We just seen they had what, 500,000 men get enlisted, moving in closer. They had all the tank. We read it last weekend. They upped the ante on the tanks. They upped the ante on the fighter jets. 500,000 troops going in. They're going in there and they start to smack the hell out of Ukraine. And now the Ukrainians is out here, Zelensky's been flying back and forth from country to country, panhandling, asking for more weapons, more money, more help, saying we're out here dying every day. So they're losing this war right now. But guess what? The U.S. has to have a reason to get the other nations in. So they're saying, well, guess what? The only way that we can intervene on behalf of Ukraine, we're going to say some extreme stuff is going on over there. We got to go in there and we got to help Ukraine and rescue them. Look at it. The United States has determined that Russia has committed. The U.S. is determining this. So, if anyone wants to know about America being Babylon and all the nations being subjected to it, about Job 9:24 and the earth being given in the hand to the wicked, the U.S. makes a determination on who does what, who did what, what's okay, what's not okay. So, because the U.S. has determined this, oh, it's a fact. The U.S. said so. So let me close this out and end it right here. Shalom. Good Lord. The United States has determined that Russia has committed crimes against humanity in Ukraine. Vice President Kamala Harris says Saturday. Where's she been at? She sticks her neck out. She finally stops laughing to make this declaration. I mean, she can't be on camera without smiling and laughing every damn minute. I don't know what's so funny. But y'all see her. She can't stop showing her teeth. But she's made the declaration on the behalf of the U.S., insisting that what? Justice must be served. That's a quote. Well, how are they going to do that? How are they going to execute judgment? How are they going to get justice? I mean, you've already funded, you've gave over $100 billion. You've given weapons, ammunition, training. You did it all. You sanctioned Russia to who knows how many times. And that hasn't stopped their cash flow. What other means could they use to serve justice? All of y'all that's online, leave a comment. You tell me what you think they're gonna do. What other means could they do to serve justice? Are they gonna fly over there? They're gonna arrest Putin without a struggle, without a fight? I mean, how are they gonna serve this? What do they mean by justice must be served? Let's continue. Speaking at the Munich Security Conference, Harris said that the international community has both a moral and strategic interest in pursuing those crimes, pointing to a danger of other authoritarian governments taking advantage of international rules are undermined. So they're breaking international rules. They're out here committing criminal acts on the international community. What are they going? Justice has to be served. What are they talking about? Look what she says is going on. Russian forces have pursued a widespread and systematic attack on a civilian population, gruesome acts of murder, torture, rape, and deportation. Harris says she also cited, quote, execution style killings, beatings, and electrocution. Now she says this is what the Russians are doing to the Ukrainians. Is there another nation that we can kind of look at those same acts against humanity and wonder if they did that to anybody else? I'll wait. How did this is the hypocrisy of the U.S. How did they get America? How did they maintain control of America? Gruesome acts of murder, torture, rape, and deportation. Deportation. What's the Trail of Tears about? The Indian Removal Act. What's that about? Uh, Jim Crow laws. You talking about moving and taking people's lands? How about the Aztec and the Mayan, the Inca? Where are they at? Where have they been deported to? Are they in control of their land anymore? No. Murder, torture, and rape. Execution style killings. If y'all seen the video that I did, but going into the slave Bible, which is pretty much a compilation of the books of the Bible with the removal of many of books to create a new Bible to control the slaves. Frederick Douglass clearly acknowledged and said that on behalf of the church, Christianity was allowing the murder, the quartering, and the killing of our people, the hangings of our people. So they've got some nerve talking about what another nation is doing and is yet to look in the mirror and face justice for the crimes that they did against the children of Israel here. I digress. The Biden administration formally determined last March that Russian troops had committed war crimes in Ukraine and said it would work with others to prosecute offenders. So America is going to work with Ukraine to prosecute offenders. That means that now they got to be hands-on with trying to round up and bring to quote unquote justice those who's committing these acts. Well, if you're saying it's quote unquote Russia, that's ambiguous. You might as well just say the whole nation and everybody that's fighting is involved, which means what? The US now is saying we've got a reason to get our hands dirty in Ukraine against the Russians. And of course, where the US goes, NATO goes. Putin said weeks ago that they're at war with Russia. I mean, they're at war with NATO. Russian officials are all said it. So World War III has already began. Now we're just seeing a reason for America to turn up the heat a little bit. A determination of crimes against humanity goes a step further, indicating that attacks against civilians are being carried out in a widespread and systematic manner. So they're trying to claim that the Russians are out there systematically killing and attacking civilians. They're not even going after the soldiers of Ukraine, which doesn't make sense to me. We know that Ukraine media is tightly controlled and government operated. So any headlines, any information that flows from there and disseminates out to the rest of the world is being controlled and is narrated from a victim standpoint. So take it for what it's worth. Let's continue. Red Scare, Russian nuclear, quote, bear bombers fly near Alaska as Putin taunts the U.S. days after an object was shot down in the U.S. storm. So it seems as though Putin is not fazed at all as he's flying nuclear bombers in U.S. next to U.S. airspace near Alaska. At the same time, America's supposedly out flying around popping balloons. They're popping balloons, and the Russians is over here creeping on the sidelines with a nuclear bomber, saying, "You see how close I can get? You see how close I can get to bombing you?" Russia claims to have flown two of its Tu-95 quote bear bombers near Alaska to show its strength to the west. This is all the flexion that's going on. This is how the Most High is removing and setting up kings, moving and setting up princes, doing these things so that nations can start getting agitated, leading up to a result for what? War. The footage reportedly shows the noisy missile carriers flying over neutral waters in the Bering Sea, accompanied by 30 Russian fighter jets very close to U.S. airspace. So we see what's going on there and the taunting that's happening with Russia and the U.S. and these nuclear bombers being set up over there. Okay, so the threat is real, and now we're seeing why America is out here saying, "Well, we need a reason. We got to go over there and serve justice." U.S. diverts 4 Russian warplanes flying near Alaska. So now they're acknowledging. See, in this headline, they're saying Russia claimed to be doing this. They're trying to tell everybody, "Oh, they said they was doing it. They wasn't really doing it." No, they did do it. Because here it says the U.S. diverted 4 Russian aircraft flying near Alaska Monday in what the government officials called a routine intercept. The North American Aerospace Defense Command said Tuesday it detected, tracked, positively identified the 4 aircraft, which included Tu-95 Bear H bombers and Su-35 fighter jets. This is why it's important, when y'all are out there looking and seeing headlines and information, that you kind of double check, look at 2 or 3 different means or articles, because they can have misleading, wording within them. And part of this is them utilizing AI, writing these damn articles and stuff to throw people off with disinformation. Because here they're saying Russia claimed to do this as if it wasn't true. Now in the New York Post, they're saying, "Oh, it happened for sure," and the U.S. had to intercept them. So even in that part, we're seeing the difference is that there was interaction between the U.S. and Russia on the basis of war and how close Russia got to U.S. land. They don't want that particular headline to get out there because what? It's going to send shockwaves to the people and panic, and people going to be tripping. Like, what is war coming on? What's going on? Did you hear about it? The Russians flew right near Alaska, and another one going to say, no, no, no. The Russians claim they did that. That didn't really happen. So they try to create narratives to try to control the people and what we say and think. So when you look at a few different means of understanding what's going on, use 2 or 3 witnesses, like the scriptures say in 2 Corinthians 13:1. It's always important to do. Let me make sure it's second, because I don't want to tell y'all wrong. I'm pretty sure it's second though. But if I'm off, don't shoot the messenger. Yeah, there you go. 13:1. This is the third time I'm coming to you. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established. So, it's important when you're researching and you're getting information, make sure that you can try to compound it with 2 or 3 witnesses, because you never know. They could be throwing out all kind of disinformation. And be careful. Don't be relying on TikTok and Facebook meme posts and all that to say, look, this is real information. No, if you can't find it, research it, then hold on before you start running rampant with it. I know Brother Brian is good with that. He'll run it by me first, like, "Hey, you heard this? Did you see this?" The choir be doing the same thing. "Hey, check this out. Is this true? Is this going on? Did you see this?" Then I go back. If I've seen it, I'll confirm. Yeah, I seen that. If not, I'll be like, "You know what? Let me look. Yeah, that's real." Or, "Nah, nah. Where'd you find this at?" Then we got to shut it down. All right. So just be careful. But this is how you see how they try to control the narrative of what's going on. So let's continue. Chinese military is ordered to invade Taiwan as World War III fears grow, the CIA claims. So there's a lot of claiming, a lot of different people saying what they think is going on. This particular, now this, we could take it for what it's worth. This is from a news source called the Daily Star, and they do some tabloids, some facts, some sports, So nowadays, all media is damn near tabloid, just because it's got ABC, CNN, Fox, whatever. Most of it's all tabloid. You know, I know the Negro loves Shade Room and Media Takeout and all the rest of them. Turn them things off for a minute, man, and try to find some real information. Israel loves some tea. You want some tea, but don't want to sit back and do what it takes to make it, grow it, get your herb. So the shortcut is give me the rumors. But this is what was being said according to a quote unquote CIA official, that China was ordered to invade Taiwan. Now the thing is that, remember, we read a couple of articles that confirmed this, that said that they were going to be doing it by 2027. So the fact that they look at it right now, people are going to say that didn't happen. No, if you read into the article, and this is the second time that we've seen this, they were talking about in the next 2 to 3 years. No, what 2023? They're talking within the next 4 years. I think they said one article, I think said 2025, the other one said 2027. So in the future years, the order has already been dictated that China will invade Taiwan, which means America is going to have to get drawn into another war, via by proxy, or they're going to have to get their hands dirty because they've got military bases over there in Taiwan. If they get hit, that's a hit on the U.S. So let's look at this. Chinese military order to invade Taiwan as World War III fears grow. Chinese military officials have been told to invade Taiwan with a shocking deadline for the set for an invasion that has stoked fears of a third world war, the CIA director has reported. Chinese military officials have been ordered to prepare to invade Taiwan, stoking fears of a third world war. CIA chiefs have confirmed that, quote, intelligence relating to the Chinese president Xi Jinping reveals he has told his military to begin preparing for a move into Taiwan by 2027. So this one confirms the other article I read maybe about 3 weeks ago that said the same thing, that by 2027, they're expecting China and Taiwan to go to war. So that's going to give America could already have their hands full with Ukraine and NATO, and that China could be involved in that just off of the basis of them being involved with this Ukraine situation and their relationship with Russia. It may not take to 2027. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain. America's got to get involved with one of these wars or both. William Burns, the current CIA director, has warned that even after international hopes Xi had been, quote, unsettled by the longevity of the war between Russia and Ukraine, they expect the Chinese leader to push for an invasion. So that's another one that's on the war on the radar. This is another one where the Most High said he's setting up kings and removing them and so forth and so on. Okay. China warns of retaliation against the U.S. over the balloon saga. And this was I did a little DSTM last Sunday, a little quick check-in with the phenomenon of all of these quote unquote flying objects, balloons, and unidentified, UFOs. What are they calling them again? Somebody help me out. They changed the name from UFOs or something. Y'all was better at remembering than I was. Does anybody remember? Anybody remember? The water, my sister. Uh, do your brother that solid, man. If y'all ain't hit that like button, you ain't wiped your feet, man. Get out the house. Get out. Get out. All right. Wipe your feet, then come back in, man. Show some love. Show some love. Hey, Shemai Wan Shalom, Mike. Shabbat Shalom to you, brother. Does anybody remember what they calling them? Well, if y'all don't remember, it's okay. They're not calling them UFOs anymore. They're calling them aerial. Damn, what they call it? Yeah, yeah. Unidentified aerial phenomena. That's what they're calling them now. Unidentified aerial phenomena. Right, right. So that's the white man again, changing reality. He says what they are. He gives them names, titles, just like he says, you're not black, you're Negro. You're not Negro, you're Afro-American. You're not Afro-American, you're African-American. You're not Afro-American, you're colored. You're not colored, you're a nigger. I mean, he constantly dictates who and what is. So China supposedly claimed that the balloon that got shot down over Montana, that was theirs. And it was a weather balloon and it flew off course. It was supposed to be over there in Hawaii. It blew off course. And they was mad because the US popped a balloon. And a warning of retaliation. Now, this is hot air, no pun intended. Because you know damn well China ain't about to do nothing. They will not go until they've got the backing of a fellow white man named Putin. If China decides they're going to just jump out the window and do it on their own, that would be kind of shocking because the scriptures tell us in Second Ezra 6 that they pattern themselves to be after the way of America. So because they living in the shadow of America and they love Esau so dang much, and we seen the relationships between Moab and Ammon and Esau all throughout the scriptures in Ezekiel, um, in um, in Judith, in Judith, Ezekiel. Where else do we see Esau's relationships? We always seen in the scriptures, man, Moab and Esau together. Moab don't make no moves, man, unless Esau says it. White Zaddy got to call the shots. So he, made these particular warnings of retaliation. Slow Biden and already came out and said, "Yeah, guess what? We've already talked. It's fine, no problem." You remember a few weeks ago, Slow Biden said, "Hey, it's nothing. We all spying on each other. What's the big deal?" You know. But one thing's for sure is that we know that these are methods of war. Look at historically what happened with our people. Numbers 13. Let's look at this. 16. We'll read down to 19. It says, "These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land." This has been going on since back then. This is military tactics. These are things that you're doing to garner and gather intelligence. The white man knows what he's doing, and so do the rest of the damn heathen and the nations. These spy balloons are set up all over the place if they are supposedly there. I know some brothers and some people out there talking about Project Bluebeam. We talked about that. I talked about that years ago. But nonetheless, uh, it does beg the question that this one that we seen one get shot down. They still have yet to, they I think they said the other three, they can't, there's no debris. They can't bring nothing up. There's no remnants of it. They're trying to figure out what's going on. So it's like, where are these other ones at? Were they real? Or are you just saying that happened? Are these things was this whole issue being used as a distraction? I'm of that opinion. Let's continue though. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land, and Moses called O'Shea the son of Nun, Jehoshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, "Get ye up this way southward, and go into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many." So he told them, go out there and spy and gather intelligence. Now, the so-called spy balloon over Montana was supposedly over like a nuclear site where military secrets are supposed to be in that area. And that's one of the reasons why they moved to destroy it, because they were saying that China was trying to spy out, and get information. And China says, no, it was harmless. It was just a weather balloon, man. Flew out the out the way. But they said that they had control mechanisms where they could steer it and show the directional ways that it was going. So whether or not China's lying, Esau's lying, who knows? But we know one thing is that spying is part of a military tactic for takeovers. So Moses told O'Shea and the rest of the men, go and spy out the land. We need to know who's dwelling there, the people that's dwelling there, if they strong or weak. Is it a lot of them or is it a little bit? Verse 19, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. And be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So we're seeing during the time of first fruits, the first prospering of the harvest. This is what was being done. But Moses gave them a whole itinerary of the information that they was to gather. So now what we're seeing here, this whole hoopla about these balloons and all that's why Esau running out here talking about UFOs. It was UFO, or UAO, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Oh, we can't rule out the fact that there could be extraterrestrial. They ran with that for like a good week and a half. So people was running around, man, UFOs, man. You see that? The chariot? No. This Esau out here got people scratching their head one day, and then they was quick to come back out and say, "Oh, we're ruling out that it's UFOs. We're still not sure what they are. People aren't they just running crazy." But at the same time, remember last week, this ironically happens at the time when that big report that came out from Cy Hirsch, that Nobel Prize winning journalist, put the blame on America for blowing up that pipeline, that Nord Stream pipeline. Now, remember when that got put out there, all of a sudden now these balloons is all over the place. Everybody's looking up in the sky rather than looking down. Remember that? What's that movie from Netflix? Don't Look Up. Well, that similar to that situation, man. He got everybody looking up, looking for balloons and UFOs, and meanwhile he's trying to cover his tracks, knowing that he violated in the Nord Stream pipeline, the gas pipeline that was going, the Russian pipeline that is, that fed gas to Germany and to other countries in Europe. Information comes out the U.S. did it and committed a terrorist act. All of a sudden now, oh no, it's more about balloons. While everybody, they talking about balloons and UFOs and who knows what. Listen, they had to just close out the World Government meeting. Something they've been denying for years on end. Oh, there's no world government. There's no new world order. There's no uh, body of men that's trying to control and dictate the future of the world. They just closed out the meeting. Hold on. Look. World Government Summit. They said, oh, that doesn't exist, huh? The World Government Summit 2023 will be held in Dubai from the 13th to the 15th of February under the slogan, quote, shaping future governments. That's what their agenda is. Look at it. Elon Musk says a single world government, one world government could lead to the end of civilization at world government. He was at the World Government Summit. That's him. He popped in via Skype or whatever to speak on him saying, hey, this is dangerous what y'all are doing. Trying to establish a one world government? No, we can't do that. But meanwhile, he's supplying the tech and everything else to make it happen. That's why, man, a white man speaks with forked tongue. One instance, he's saying, no, we can't do that. Meanwhile, here, you need my technology to do it? Here. Look at this from First Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his law, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. This ain't new. I mean, you can go back into times of Nimrod in Genesis. That's why the Most High said he had to divide the nations in Genesis 11 and had to separate the people. They was trying to establish a one world government, one world order back then, and the white man said, I like what the Cushites was trying to do, but I'm going to perfect it. And Antiochus said, well, this is the whole thing. I want everybody to be as the Greeks. I want one kingdom to rule. Everybody's going to be one people. Leave off your laws, your religion, your customs, your traditions. All that's out of here. You're all going to follow after Greek traditions and ways. You're going to have Greek names, languages. You're going to be naked in the damn gymnasiums with us. All of that. That was the objective. So we still see here, man, he's still hell bent on getting that done. But while he's doing these particular meetings and the masses are completely ignorant to this stuff, they're worried about balloons. Because the white man said, hey, UFOs is here. Now, what are they doing? They're running around for UFOs. Here's another thing. The Daigle.com, right? Now, this is a website that does research in regards to world population, and this is the information. This is from 2021, right? But it said it got updated 2 days ago. Dago.com predicts up to 80% of the population cold by 2025 in countries where Europeans live. The UK, US, and Germany look to be epicenters of slaughter. This is predicted. Now remember, even who was it? Alexis or AI was talking about World War III is going to happen by October or November this year. Remember that? Now we're seeing all of these NATO nations, NATO allied nations, UK, US, Germany, looking to be epicenters of slaughter. Russian warplanes are flying by with nukes on them, and the US got to scramble and intercept them. All this stuff is going on in the background. They got a new plague that's coming out that kills, I think it said 90% of the people that get it. And they're talking about balloons. Look at this. Dago.com provided the 2025 forecast for population. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. This is real. All I'm saying is that this is according to this website and the research team that deals with world populations and the things that happen environmentally, so forth and so on, wars. Their research is saying by 2025, 80% of the country could be gone. And they're talking about Obadiah. The majority of the people that's gonna get put to death is these people. All right. Provided so rest easy, Israel. But again, take it for what it's worth. Who knows where they're getting all this information, where these predictions are coming from. But if we're looking at the landscape of the land of the world, something in the population is definitely going to be dwindling. You seen the Georgia Guidestones last year got destroyed. Somebody blew them things up, and the Georgia Guidestones clearly said that they want a population of 500 million. Period. Outside of the 8 billion that survive in the land right now, the Georgia Guidestones, written in multiple languages, and the commandments and all the other stuff that's there, talking about world population declining in control and destruction. This website says by 2025, the forecast for the population of each country. I obtained this forecast data before it was taken down in April of this year. However, the data has been safely archived and was still available for analysis. I calculated the percent population reductions for each country based on the difference between the current population and the 2025 forecast, and rank sorted each country in order of largest population reduction. My hypothesis was that the cold would have an epicenter centered in the countries' powers who were running the P word, namely the G7. So this is all hypothetical, he's saying. So the G7 nations are going to experience, or what they're expecting to experience, a massive population decline by 2025. So take it for what it's worth. We do see that meetings is going on how to shape the future of the government. We're seeing warfares on the horizon. Plagues is here. Earthquakes is still. What's the death toll over there in Turkey by now? I'm sure it's close to 40,000. I'm sure it's close there. How many we got? Oh, topping 46,000. That was an hour ago. 46,000 dead from that earthquake, and the numbers will still continually grow. So, take it for what it's worth, man. You got him talking about balloons and all that, right? But meanwhile, all this other stuff that is happening in the earth, that's why I said much of what he's talking about, I look at as distractions. Because what is he trying to divert people's attention away from? Look at this Psalms 12 and verse 2. It says, they speak vanity, everyone with his neighbor, with flattering lips, and with a double heart do they speak. That's why I always say, man, a white man speaks with a forked tongue, double-hearted, double-minded, says one thing, really means the next. Speaking vanity. Oh, it's balloons. Don't worry. We got it all taken care of. Slow Biden came out, addressed it the other day, and said it's nothing. We got it all figured out. But just know that I'm going to defend this country. If something's flying in our airspaces and we take it as a threat, I'm going to handle it. He had to flex his little, flabby arms to try to let everybody know I'm going to protect you. If something ain't looking right in them skies, I got you. But meanwhile, don't worry, it was nothing. We took care of it. I talk with world leaders. I talk with Xi Jinping, man. We've got a good understanding. And they interviewed him. They said, "Did you talk to him personally about the balloons?" He was like, "Oh no, no, not about that. But we've talked in the past, and we're good." So he ain't even addressed this thing. Proverbs 26:25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there's 7 abominations in his heart, man. This is why you always got to look for the cover up, man. He's playing 3-card Molly with everybody. Here's the ball. Here's 3 cups. He's shuffling things around, asking you, where am I at? Where is he at? Where is it at? He's running social experiments, man, seeing how far will this story go? How far will people take it? The UFO saga, right? His son's laptop is revealing even more dirt between him, his brother. I think his brother's name is Jim Biden. You got Joe Biden, Jim Biden, and then you got Hunter Biden. All of them damn criminals. But that laptop got cracked open, man. There's all kind of dirt going on in there. Stuff that should get his old ass impeached. But that dude's such a career politician and got his hands in so many people's pockets and knows so many secrets behind all these politicians' dirt, man. They ain't gonna move on him, man. They just gonna probably want to physically get him out of there. That's why they were making a whole big old hoopla about him having his physical the other day. And it was like, make sure you check his cognitive abilities. I mean, he might not be able to come back. So they're not going to remove him legally. They're going to say, man, we got to remove him physically, man. Poison him, push him down the stairs and say he failed. Do something, get rid of him. So we can have a new regime come in. Get his old puppet butt up out of there. He's coming out talking about 2024. Please, he might not even make it to 2024. Let's continue though. So China says they're warning of retaliation. Yeah, right. China warned that it will retaliate against the U.S. over violations of sovereignty, potentially escalating the lingering balloon dispute. Just as top diplomats from both nations plan to attend a security conference in Germany, I believe that they canceled that, or one of the whoever was going there on behalf of America. I think they turned back and said they wasn't going to go. At a briefing Wednesday, Foreign Minister spokesman Wang Wenbin repeated Beijing's view that the Chinese aircraft downed by a U.S. jet off the South Carolina coast this month had inadvertently floated over the country after being blown off course. He criticized the Biden administration's decision to take it out and later sanctioned Chinese companies, saying the moves would have consequences. China is strongly opposed to this and will take countermeasures against relevant U.S. entities that have undermined our sovereignty and security to firmly safeguard our sovereignty and legitimate rights and interests, Wang said. So far, we ain't seen them do nothing, but they're talking big. So we'll see. Chinese military aircraft and ships crossed the Taiwan Strait amid soaring tensions with the U.S. after Navy and Marines held drills in South China Sea and fallout over Montana spy balloon. So the Chinese military is positioning themselves further into the Taiwan Strait, flexing their muscle, letting the U.S. and Taiwan know, we're here. This is our territory, and if you come over here, there could be problems. So no actions, only movements. But that's how the Most High does. He's just moving pieces. Just moving pieces. Let's continue. UK's overstretched arms forces told they are, quote, too small to combat Russia. So the UK, they're so in disarray over there, man, and so depleted. They're basically saying, listen, we're tapped out. Our military, our ammunitions, we can't hang if a war jumps off and Russia hits us, we're finished. We've been stretched thin. So guess who's got to get the UK's back? Oh, you guessed it. You guessed it. The Grey Whore, which was birthed from the UK. So they have to get mamas back. right? Or daddy's back, whatever. Defense experts, see, what I'm bringing in is all of these particular forces, why we know and see America will be involved in World War III, how America is going to be destroyed, because the whore has to defend and jump out and be in the placement of all of their Johns that they've been satisfying over the years. Trying to keep it PG, but you dig what I'm saying? So Taiwan over here, Philippines over here. Oh, the UK needs help. Ukraine needs help. So America's got themselves so stretched out. No pun intended, it is a whore. They're going to eventually have all kind of openings up to get hit up, trying to be the savior. Defense experts in both the UK and abroad fear the British armed forces are now not capable of playing a leading role in combating Russian aggression after years of cuts. As the UK prepares to take over leadership of NATO's Rapid Reaction Force from Germany at the end of the year, reports in German media have highlighted big problems with the British military. A source from the Ministry of Defense said there are serious problems with ammunition shortages and other kit, which is partly due to underspending, but also because of the amount of ammo and other ordnance we are supplying to the Ukraine. So if you remember from that Dago report, it said that the UK was going to be one of the nations, the European nations, that suffer a rapid decline in population and is going to be violently. So here we're seeing if they maintain and the war jumps off within the next couple of years and it turns hot over there in the UK, they can't even defend themselves, man. They're gonna get bombed the hell out of them. Russia gonna bomb them to smithereens. Our forces are stretched because of the extent of which they are training Ukrainian forces. Cuts to the British Army have been consistent in recent years. Under current plans, the Army is due to shrink to 73,000 full time troops from 82,000. It is currently at below 76,000. This means the Army is now smaller than it has been since the 1700s. So the UK is in trouble. If the war cracks off, man, they get hit, you can forget about it. That's why they're going to need America to come in and try to help save them. The U.S. is telling citizens to leave Russia immediately. That's why we're seeing how America is putting out the headlines. Oh, Russia's committing crimes against humanity. Oh, they're turning up the heat over there in Ukraine. They may turn on you at being over there at the U.S. embassies or vacationing, or you got family over there in Russia. They're telling them, man, get the hell out of there right now because they may turn on you. Just the fact that they're putting up red flags to stay out of Russia, what does that mean? Well, they did say that they were going to bring Russia to justice, right? Could that mean that NATO or America is going to have some sort of offensive attack in Russia and they're telling their people, get up out of there so we don't want no casualties of war? No blood on our hands? I don't know. But clearly they're telling them, get the hell out of there because something's about to go down. The United States has told its citizens to leave Russia immediately due to the war in Ukraine and the risk of arbitrary arrest or harassment by Russian law enforcement agencies. U.S. citizens residing or traveling in Russia should depart immediately, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow said. Exercise increased caution due to the risk of wrongful detentions. So now they're saying that anybody in Russia is going to be a target if you got an American ID. They're coming after you. That's their narrative. That's what they're saying. We don't know if Russia's even co-signed this or even started doing any of this. But America puts it out there because America said, they're committing crimes against humanity. America said it. Oh, that means it's going to go down. They tell them, do not travel to Russia. Russian security services have arrested U.S. citizens on spurious charges, singled out U.S. citizens in Russia for detention and harassment, denied them fair and transparent treatment, and convicted them in secret trials, or without presenting credible evidence, the embassy says. So this is America's claim. I mean, they had what's the sister's name that's playing basketball that they let go? Brittany Griner. I mean, that was a secret. They was surely publicizing that. They got other US citizens over there locked up that some of them was like, damn, I've been over here for years on end. over military stuff or supposed spying. She come over here transporting weed and paraphernalia and got up out of there in like 9 months. They've been over there for years. They're like, damn, what about us? But slow Biden, he had to make that political statement for the people so he can get that November primary vote in. He played his cards right. People fell for it, you know. But that's the word they saying. Get up out of there. Something is going down over there. Philippines Coast Guard accuses China of blinding crew with a military grade laser. So the Philippines, they made a pact with America, letting America go over there and set up shop in their seas, creating a covenant with them, and that got China hot too because China is like, look, you just opened up the door for America to get closer to us. So now we got problems with the Philippines now. So here we see the Philippines has accused China of a quote blatant disregard and quote clear violation of sovereignty, alleging that a Chinese Coast Guard ship last week directed a military grade laser light at a Philippine Coast Guard ship in the hotly contested South China Sea, temporarily blinding the Filipino crew on board. I mean, look at the weaponry, man, that this white man got, man. All you have to do is flash a laser and temporary blinds people. Now, the Filipinos are saying this is a violation of their sovereignty. Same thing the damn Chinese just got through saying America was doing. They're all doing the same stuff, but this is how the Most High is utilizing these particular weapons of wordfare against each other. Oh, my sovereignty is being violated. One nation says it, the other nation say it. It's just a matter of who acts upon it because they're all doing the same thing. They're all doing the same thing. So now the Philippines is involving themselves in this war because why? They align themselves with America. So where's that at? Hold on. I just want to show that. Yes, here. The US and Philippines expand their cooperation. So the Philippines, they made their covenant with America, as we've seen all throughout the past year and some change, all of the nations that's aligning themselves with the left or with the right. So the Philippines now has joined in on the fray. And as soon as China, flashes a light on them, blinding their troops, they want to come to the press and beg, white zaddy for help. Well, China's saying you want it in. This is what it's about. All right, so let's continue. List of world leaders who gave sudden resignations. Jacinda Ardern to Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Now, this is what I was looking at earlier and understanding why all these world leaders are all of a sudden fleeing. There's only one or two things. It's either they're not going with the program, they're not enforcing the program, or they see the program as evil as hell and they're saying, I don't want any parts of this. I'm out. And then typical fashion of the so-called white man says, well, if you won't do it, I'll find someone who will. So you have regime changes that's going down. You got some people that's just not carrying out orders fast enough and more strict enough. So some things are going down like that. But it's no wonder that within the last year, all these people are being relieved of their posts. I don't remember this happening this rapidly ever in my lifetime. World leaders all leaving and quitting, and why? Prime ministers and presidents who gave resignations from their positions. When June FU I'm about to say FUC. PHUC. Okay. YouTube be listening. I don't want to say that word. When Juing you know. These damn heathen with these names. Anyway, following the resignation of Vietnam's president, there may be a change in the country's communist-run governments and balance of powers. A change in the way that the government is being ran. There may be a change from communism. Well, who doesn't like communism? America. They want us to be a democracy. So we'll see if America slides on over there and says, "Hey, remember me? You need help? Let me put you back up on your feet." So Vietnam's president, he resigned. Liz Truss was the shortest serving prime minister in British history. She announced her resignation, having clocked up to 44 full days in a row. She lasted less than 2 months after she took over for Boris Johnson. Liz Truss, she's out of there in the UK. That's why you see the UK is a mess. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, in the midst of widespread protests over his poor management of the economy in Sri Lanka, Mr. Rajapaksa resigned and fled to Singapore. If y'all seen that video when they was the people in Sri Lanka took over his presidential mansion, they was swimming in the pool, they raided the house, they ran him up out of there because everybody was starving over there. The gas prices was out of control, and they chased him up out of there. That's why he said he fled to Singapore. He sent him his resignation and said, "Man, I'm not coming back," because that whole place was collapsed in Sri Lanka, and I'm sure it's still the same. Mario Draghi resigned as prime minister after he was appointed as Italy's unelected head of the unity government. Saad Harari, Lebanon prime minister, stepped down. Boris Johnson announced his resignation July 7, 2022. Gordon Brown resigned as prime minister of his party after losing in the 2010 election. He was prime minister for 2 years and 319 days. Theresa May resigned in 2019. Imran Khan, former prime minister, decided to tender his resignation as a member of the National Assembly ahead of the election of the new prime minister of Pakistan. So all these nations, man, from Vietnam to Pakistan to the UK, the president of New Zealand, or the prime minister of New Zealand, she just quit. So what's going on with all these world leaders jumping ship? Very interesting. Here we go again. Rumors swirl about balloons. We're just leaving that one alone. We know what the scriptures talk about chariots and UFOs. Like, if you really want to know when it's going to go down, you're going to see them. You're going to know. It ain't going to be about no damn balloons. We're calling them objects, not balloons, for a reason. Pentagon refuses to rule out that objects flying over the U.S. are aliens or extraterrestrials after the third UFO shot down at the flying air sensitive military site. Oh, so they're not calling them balloons no more. They're just objects up there, and we don't know if it's aliens, or extraterrestrials. See, this is the folly that they was promoting and pushing. All right, so let's continue. Now, getting back over here with the railroad situation, let's look at that. Let me look at the description. Second Ezra 7. Nothing is as what it seems with the so-called white man, and this dude has no problem eliminating and killing his own in the name of progressions of war. You just call them casualties of war. It's just like this. He leaves a trail of siege behind to remove blame from himself. I'll give you an example. When you're dealing with economic, depravity or whatnot, we know that the white man has white privilege. He's in control of the earth, the economic system, stock markets, manipulation of markets, currency exchanges, so forth and so on, jobs. He's got it all. But you still see, white folks in the mountains of Appalachia with no teeth, down south, Midwest, people who they classify as, quote, white trash and poor whites. Now you got to ask yourself, why would they put those titles on those people or classify them based upon, number one, their so-called race and how base and downgraded they are. Is there such thing as black trash? You dig what I'm saying? Or poor blacks, poor Hispanics, Native American trash? They would call us that as bywords and proverbs, but not because of our classifications in the system. The reason why the white man puts out there, he said, "Oh, that's the white trash over there. That's the poor whites." What that means? Everybody else got it. Everybody else is rich. Everybody else is sustained. So he leaves them as casualties of war and saying, "Look, you can't say all of us are rich. We look the poor whites over there. We left them hanging." That's why the poor ones try to come up and rub elbows with it. We're all together in this, man. I'm just as poor as you. It's not about black or white. Then they weaponize them to say, look, we're the same. I grew up on food stamps and EBT just like you did. Hey, guess what? You got left behind by your own people, man. You had the opportunity. You just wasn't chosen by them to make it. They just left you behind. I remember telling that to this Edomite bum. He was, standing around by the gas station trying to get some change. And I said, look, man, if you clean yourself up and we both go for a job interview somewhere, man, I guarantee you're gonna get a call back before I do. You over here either by choice or who knows what you did, man. You down on your luck from drugs or you're drinking, who knows? But at the end of the day, man, your people left you behind. And you're gonna be used for political means. Like, don't come from don't come asking me for money. I got my own problems. But you have an opportunity to get out there and take advantage of your white privilege while you can, if you're elected to. Otherwise, you're going to be used as a political pawn to say you're the poor white here. So you better take advantage of your white privilege while you got it, man, because it's going to be short lived. He's got sat back scratching his head like, what? Nah, that isn't true. I said, man, if you don't knock it off, I said, your people run everything, man. Your people got all the money. Why they leave you behind? Don't be mad at me because I ain't gonna give you a dollar. Be mad at your people because they didn't give you an opportunity. They shut you down. So that's the type of things that he does, right? So in order to create this facade of we're not all this, we don't have everything yet. Look, we've got poor whites and white trash, and Eminem claimed he was white trash, but they're the only nation that classifies themselves as that. Everybody else, you're just poor, or you're just no. For them, they have to classify it. That's the poor of us over there. You understand? Verse 41 of Second Ezra, the 7th chapter. Even so, now, seeing corruption has grown up and wickedness increased, and the righteous are prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it be now so also? So we're looking at end time prophecy and seeing what's going on, man. Corruption is growing up, wickedness is increased. So as we look and see what's going on with this whole thing with the railroads, it's going to be evident that we see what's going on. He answered me and said, the present life is not the end where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. So right now, there's not a lot of glory that the righteous can, attain right now because the world is so corrupt, full of wickedness. It's anti biblical, anti-righteousness, anti-black, Native American, Hispanic, anti-law of justice of the Most High. So we're not going to get a lot of glory, right? But the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for it to come. So we know Second Ezra, the 6th chapter right before it says Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth it. So Jacob's kingdom, our kingdom, is going to be the beginning of our immortality to come. Esau is going to be the day of doom and the end of this time, wherein corruption is past. So this is another indication of who Esau is, because now you just follow the trails of corruption. They had articles saying that we just read the article a couple weeks ago that was talking about all the Ukrainian officials and heads over there were resigning, citing corruption. They said Ukraine was one of the most corrupt nations in the U.S. I mean, not in the U.S., in the world. Like, I didn't even have to finish it before the damn Bot said, "Yeah, we know what you're talking about." Welcome to Ukraine, the most corrupt nation in Europe. That was from 2015. You think much has changed since then? We know about America's corruption just off of the hypocrisy that we just got through seeing them talking about, oh, crimes against humanity that the Russians are doing, and they're guilty of every last single one thing that they were trying to accuse them of. We know the corruption runs deep, man. We don't need to give a bunch of examples, but we know what time it is. All right. So it says, the day of doom shall be the end of this time. So that's the Esau. His end is going to be doom. The beginning of it that comes after is immortality. That's Jacob, wherein corruption is past. So we have the only time we get past it is after we surpass the corruption that's been sown in the earth. And it's all been sown by the so-called white man. He's worked hard tilling the grounds of the earth in corruption. Verse 44, intemperance is at an end, and fidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that have gotten the victory. So there's not going to be no more hands across America trying to save Josh and save Bob. No, the Most High said that's it. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed. Esau is going to be destroyed. There ain't going to be no saving him. As much as our people got their nose up their butt, man, and Stockholm syndrome and love white zaddy and all that, the Most High said, man, there's no saving him. It's over. You better get on the side of the righteous. And for those that's been oppressed, it said, nor to oppress him that got the victory. So once we receive the victory, man, there's no more oppression for us. Now, back to some of the corruption that we see. Initially, they put out this report about the ethylene glycol ether that was put out there in the atmosphere from the trains that crashed. And you say, well, that was an accident, man. How you gonna blame corruption about that? Okay, pay attention. There were more toxic chemicals on the train that derailed in Ohio than originally reported, data shows. So first of all, they lowballed the toxic chemicals before doing full tests and all that. They said, oh, it's not that bad. Don't worry. Then when people start coming back and they seeing live their dogs dying, fish dying, birds dying, chickens and all that stuff dying in their backyard, they like, well, hold on, what the hell? Running the water's coming out smelling like sulfur and alcohol and all kind of stuff, and they like, no, this can't be good. Then they double back and do oh, you know what? Actually, it is more toxic than we initially reported. Are you still over there? You may want to leave for a couple of days. As the people that left for a few days came back and said they still smelled toxic chemicals all in the air after they were told it's safe to return. They had some independent journalist reporter, man. They arrested him for trying to report on it and questioning and storming the damn city town hall talking about what happened. And they arrested him for trying to expose the truth. Now, that's not corrupt. I don't know the guy's name, but I'll give him. See, so first thing they probably, a fact checker. Oh, and then, of course, they can say, no, that didn't happen. Fact check was journalists arrested in Ohio for covering the train derailment. Uh, Evan Lambert speaks out on arrest in East Palestine. Ohio governor calls on DC to address the absurd train regulation. Reporter arrested during news event on Ohio train. So they're saying that clearly he was arrested for trying to report on it. There's video of it. Y'all can look it up if need be. But nonetheless, obviously they were trying to cover up something. Continuing on, it says state health officials were initially concerned about the presence of vinyl chloride, a highly volatile, colorless gas produced for commercial uses, which spilled after about 50 cars on the Norfolk Southern Railroad train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, on February 3rd while traveling from Illinois to Pennsylvania. Other toxins like phosgen and hydrogen chloride were emitted in large plumes of smoke during a controlled release and burn, prompting officials to issue mandatory evacuation orders in a 1 mile radius of the crash site. Now, this is a whole nother thing too. We were talking about this earlier today, and one of the things, like, uh, brother Elder Adadai puts out with some of the preparatory things he does usually in beginning of his classes, and we talked about him here on DSTM too. Can you imagine if there was a toxic leak in your neighborhood or whatever, and they told everybody you got to get out now, grab what you can, don't take nothing. You got to leave. You may not necessarily have a place to go. Many of these people didn't have places to go. They had to post up in hotels. But how long can you afford these hotels at these exorbitant prices of inflation or whatnot? Did they have bug out bags and things prepared to evacuate and leave immediately? Some people saying, I can't leave. My pets are gonna die. I'm gonna stay here. They end up dying. It's a lot of things that you may have to be prepared for just in case something goes down. So these people were told, you got to go, get out. It's toxic over here. What do you got prepared to get up out of there and still continue on life wherever you can go? So these are all things that, we've preached and talked about, just being prepared. You never know. As the old saying goes, man, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So they were told that they had to leave and stay out within at least a mile radius. And I think they told them 5 days they can come back, right? A list of the cars that were involved in the derailment and the products they were carrying released by Norfolk Southern reveal several more toxic chemicals that were released into the air and soil following the crash. So when they return, not only is the soil now toxic, the air, the water, all those things, the place is damn near uninhabitable for who knows how long until they can actually get it cleaned up. And if you leave it to them, they're telling you, oh, no, it's fine, it's all gone. Okay, well, let's see. There was another train derailment in 2013. Same thing happens in New Jersey, right? So this was 10 years ago. 6 months after the Paulsboro train derailment, vinyl chloride testing continues. 6 months later, they still were testing and finding toxic, albeit low, and it was declining. It was still present there 6 months later. They told the people in East Palestine to go back after 5 days. It was cool. So if a previous thing says 6 months later it's still around, you tell them 5 days, go back. Are they deliberately trying to kill these people? What are they doing? I mean, most of them, from what I've seen on the media, they was all heathens. But it is what it is. They don't. That's why I said they don't care about killing their own if it means gaining a bottom line. They don't care about leaving out some of their own if it means them maintaining control. Same thing with like HIV. They can talk about HIV being, let me be careful. Uh, we know overall, HIV started off as a deliberate or not, you be the judge. But let's leave it at that. HIV, right? Now they start off saying, "Oh, it's a homosexual disease. Don't worry about it." So I'm making up numbers. Let's just say 100,000 sodomites die in the early go rounds of the disease. Then you scoop in the drug addicts and the dope fiends, sharing needles, so forth and so on. Add another 150,000. Add 200,000 with the drugs, right? Then the sexual promiscuity and everything else that you infiltrate into the Black and Hispanic communities, the ignorance, the lack of education, so forth and so on. Now, guess who's at the top of the list of deaths based upon HIV? Oh, the bottom line is millions of our people died. They only had to sacrifice a couple 100,000 dope fiends and sodomites. But the end all results was, yes, we finally got to the people that we really wanted them, really intended this thing to hit. You understand? So that's how they play the game. Sacrifice a few to get the whole. Here they are talking about 6 months after this same type of chemical uh, spread into this town. 6 months later, it's still there. They're telling the people over there in Ohio, 5 days, you cool, go ahead. Look at this. The borough's groundwater has tested positive for vinyl chloride since the toxic train wreck that evacuated half the town last November, but in low declining levels. According to Conrail, owner of the track and the train, 3 groundwater testing wells have been installed in proximity to the site of the accident where 7 tanker cars derailed on the Jefferson Street Railway Bridge, sending 4 of the cars into the Mantua Creek below. Since February 2013, several test wells have registered very low and generally declining levels of vinyl chloride in groundwater, said Conrail spokesman Mike Hotra. Regular testing of the public water supply system has confirmed that the drinking water in the area has not been affected by the derailment. So they said after 6 months, it's okay, right? Look at this. Same issue. 100+ people sue after the toxic train derailment. Why were they suing? 100 people, including first responders, claimed they sustained injuries after inhaling vinyl chloride. Well, why? Because they told them it was fine. Now they had to double back and start suing because they all got sick and got all jacked up. And this is a carcinogen, which means it's cancer causing. Class action lawsuits been filed today relating to the Paulsboro, New Jersey train derailment and chemical spill that forced hundreds of people from their homes and left dozens sick last year. The plaintiffs include more than 100 first responders, young children, and property owners who allege they sustained injuries and damages after the hazardous chemical spill. So this was 10 years ago. Same thing happened. Different way that they're handling it. This go around, they're rushing people back over there to get sick. Back then, they said, hold on, 6 months. They told them people stay away for 3 weeks. It said November 30th, 7 cars of an 84 car the accident released vinyl chloride, leading to the evacuation of more than 329 families and businesses. Dozens were checked out at a hospital. But I believe in this one, they said that it was down here. It says for residents of the area, however, who were evacuated from their homes and lived in motels around South Jersey for nearly 3 weeks after the derailment occurred, the presence of the vinyl chloride in the area is something to worry about. So these are people living in motels for 3 weeks. They told them stay away. This one in Ohio and Palestine, they told them they can go back within days. And what happened? People got toxically sick and ill, and they ended up suing. But look what the EPA says, Environmental Protection Agency, and I believe this is a Jake. So they parade out a Negro to go out there and say everything's fine. Let me look at. I want to make sure he is EPA Administrator Michael Regan. I believe he's a damn Negro. There you go. They said parade the nigga out there, man. Let him give the disinformation. Let at his lips be the one to tell everybody, oh, everything's fine. First African American to serve the role. And they set his butt up. And he's gonna go out there and do the bidding of White Zaddy. He's a Democrat. There you go. Michael Regan, right? What did he say? Trust the government. Oh, White Zaddy said, hey, trust the government. You listen to what white men say. White men tell truth. Boss would never lie to us. Boss would never lie. What? Proverbs 3:31, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Huh? He's talking about, oh, just trust the government, man. Isaiah 30. Isaiah 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Most High Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So the Most High pronounced judgment on the children of Israel that were covering themselves up with iniquity and unrighteousness, not covering themselves with the righteousness and the laws and the commandments of the Most High, following after the ways of the heathen. It says, but not of his spirit, that they may add sin to sin. What did we do? That walked to go down into Egypt, and have not asked in my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. And what did good old Michael Regan say? Trust the government. Trust in the shadow of Egypt. EPA boss says he would allow his children to drink and bathe in East Palestine water as he visits the town after Ohio Senator J.D. Vance challenged him to drink it and share the video of toxic water. Did he take the challenge? Hell no. Ohio Senator said, if you so bad, man, come on down, Michael Regan. Bring your black ass down here, man. You come drink this water and you tell us if it's safe. You think he took the challenge? Please. Look, EPA Minister Michael Regan toured East Palestine derailment on Thursday, said he trusted government to test the safety of local drinking water supply. GOP Senator J.D. Vance said he doesn't trust the test and prefers bottled water. You think? I mean, look how they handled the whole situation in Mississippi. And how they did our people dirty with that whole thing with the flood and jacked up the water and everything else and told everybody go back and drink. And that one woman said the dog won't even drink the water after they were told it was safe to drink. So trust the government, says senior EPA administrator, head nigga in charge, Michael Regan. And they're gonna parade him out there to take the downfall. That's why when you see a lot of these mass shootings and stuff like, I'm not necessarily mass shooting, but police brutalities and stuff like that, many of the police chiefs are black. So they make it look like Negroes can't they can't manage these law enforcement agencies. All hell breaks loose when you let a nigga run something. And next thing you know, that gives the so-called white man more reason to say, see, we gave you niggas a shot. But meanwhile, they sabotage every damn thing. They set Jakes up for failure. Just like they doing him. He's running out here talking about everything's safe, everything's fine. Well, if he did any study 10 years ago, he would say, no, hold on. Last time, the people were told to stay away 3 weeks. Why are we saying it's okay within 5 days? Oh, the people wasn't drinking the water. 6 months later, they were still finding traces of toxicity in the waters. Why are we telling them it's okay now? Now, he's not doing that. He's puppeteering, being puppeteered by the so-called white man. They tell him, man, get out there. You read this script and that's it. You tell him trust in the shadow of Egypt. That's it. Let's look at our boy.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Oh. And that's from the white man himself, the president himself. What did he say?
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
So you want to listen to Reagan or you want to listen to Michael Regan? you tell me, which one? Reagan or Regan? Reagan telling you straight up. If the government says I'm here to help, man, run for cover.
I think you all know that.
Hold on, Slucky. I'm trying to. All right. It's the next one. Okay. So it says, how many train derailments have there been in the U.S. since 2023? They're blowing this one up, right? But there's been a number of them. Why? Because obviously that toxic chemical release. I believe there was another one that just happened in Arizona that's getting no real press. The recent Ohio train derailment in which carriages from 150 car freight liner carrying toxic chemicals crashed off the tracks. We know about all that, right? Where is it? The number that? Yeah, right here. It says in just one or more than. Hold on. Let me read it the whole thing. The recent Ohio train derailment in which carriages from 150-car Freightliner carrying toxic chemicals crashed off the tracks in the town of East Palestine is just one of more than a dozen rail accidents reported to have already taken place in the U.S. since the start of 2023. Over a dozen. And we're only in the middle of February. So in a month and a half, they've had at least 12 derailments and train accidents. If you see some of the tracks on them, the tracks is all jacked up, bent up, got all kind of lumps and dips all in them, man. The trains got to roll it 5 miles an hour so they don't ride off the tracks. If it's going too fast, you're going to derail. And they're carrying quote unquote precious cargo, supply chain stuff that's supposed to be reaching stores and places that spoil. This is something that the so-called white man has been sabotaging and doing for the long time. Why are we not hearing about all these other railroad accidents within the last month and a half? Where's the red flags that's saying, well, we got to look out for the safety. We got to figure this thing out. These things is crashing too much. Or do they want it to happen? Here we go. Another Norfolk Southern train carrying hazardous chemicals crashes near Detroit. Just a week after the derailment caused toxic leak and exodus from East Palestine. This one was carrying toxic chemicals, crashed, but it didn't escape. So, my folks out there in Detroit, man, y'all got a good one. Got blessed, let's say. The world will say lucky, no, blessed that something didn't leak up out of there. It was that close. Let me see if there was. I want to make sure there was another one. Was it Arizona? No, Michigan. Ohio, Texas, Arizona. Yeah, that was it. I don't know if they'll show the video, but Arizona truck spill of toxic acid closes interstate highway. This is toxic acid, man, and it was in the air. You can see it was like a yellowish, reddish smoke leaking about this thing, man. People was driving by filming it. It was crazy. I don't know if it's gonna show it on here. A tanker truck hauling nitric acid overturned on the interstate. So that was the truck. The rest was all of the trains. But the trains is all jacked up. Trains is all jacked up. We'll leave it at that. Let's continue on. So over at least a dozen train wrecks since January. Now we hearing about this hazardous one. They mishandle it and fumble in it, saying how to, it's safe to go back. There's no problems. Everything's good. Trust the government. Right. And the people over there in East Palestine is over there in the uproar because everything's dying around them. They're still throwing I seen some lady, man, she threw something into the lake out there or like a river, a stream. And it was all kind of dang toxic reactions that was happening after they told them come back. It's good. But look at this. Biden, this was December 2nd, 2022. Biden signs a bill to block U.S. railroad strike. So remember, they've been beefing for a while. They was getting ready to strike at the end of last year before they came into an agreement. So something's going on with these railroads. I don't know why is it, they were saying that they were supposed to be, striking over pay and sick days and all that other stuff. But clearly we're seeing that much of the issue has to do with safety of these railroad tracks. Things aren't being built. And then next thing you know, they're going to just pave the way to say, well, look, if you guys can't drive these things, well, we'll get AI to do it. And once AI gets control, all hell can break loose. You see what's going on with the self-driving cars crashing and getting jacked up with the Teslas. So it can only get worse in some instances. So there's been issues with Biden and the government and the railroad unions and all that since last year. and now all of a sudden, all these trains is crashing, all these problems and issues. Even though they avoided the worker strike and Biden, bowed down and gave them what they needed, but something's going on. The reason why they're still crashing all over the place. So keep that in mind. We've got to double back on that one later. Um, Here's another one about Biden. Biden, the Second Amendment is not absolute. So
As
we've seen what's going on with these shootings. Let's hear from his mouth in regards to the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. He's made no mistaking about where he stands at as far as gun ownership, your ability to protect yourself, your household, your family, why they want to disarm the public so that they can actually come in and smash with a complete government takeover. The only thing that's holding back is, hey, people got the ability to defend themselves and say no. But if you can take them out your hands,
a nation,
it is what it
I
is.
think we all must be there for them, everyone. And we must ask, when in God's name will we do what needs to be done?
See, that's why the Most High said, "What are the heathen to do to declare my statutes?" Man, he got some nerve to tell what in God's name, as if he's trying to invoke the name of the Most High, which ain't his name. Number one, number two, as if he's some sort of spiritualist that he really believes in God. He don't believe in the Most High.
Done to, if not completely stop, fundamentally change the amount of the carnage that goes on in this country. To state the obvious, and Corey and a lot of other people here, I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired of what's going on and continues to go on.
So he's speaking about, the mass shootings, this, that, and the third, right? So he's sick and tired of what's going on, but he, runs around funding wars and sending ammunitions and ammo and everything else to make sure that they can go shoot down and kill, the Esau can kill each other over there in Ukraine. He's got no problem funding those things. He's on record saying he's got a shotgun at the house. He's got armed security, bodyguards, Secret Service all over the place. Oh, but he hates guns. He's sick of everything that's going on. But here he says, hey, the Second Amendment is not absolute. We're not gonna play the whole clip for time's sake. But he's acknowledging that the Second Amendment can be changed, can be erased. I just need some more examples. I just need some more carnage, as he says, to utilize my argument on why I need to go ahead and stamp an executive order and change it and start snatching up everybody's means of protection. So this is why we see all these dang incidences of these sleeper cells, getting
I spent my
mobilized.
career
Hold on, getting mobilized out there. All these mass shootings keep popping up all the time, and it just so happened that right after the November primaries is when he said he was going to, number one, was going to get back on the abortion train and try to stop the whole overturning of abortion in Roe versus Wade. And he's coming after the Second Amendment. Now another distraction. Oh, we got balloons, we got mass shootings. Take the eyes off of him signing off on secret operations with the U.S. having troops over there in Ukraine. Take it off of the Nord Stream pipeline. Take it off of the laptop situation. His dealings, his son's dealings with the Chinese and the Ukrainians and Russians doing undermining deals for millions of dollars, compromising governments. Oh, take your mind off of all of those things, man. That's all that he's doing.
as chairman of
So, in typical fashion, and I just hate when I see my people be doing this stuff. But clearly they said this dude was he was a little off anyway. 3 people killed at Michigan State University, gunman dead. And if y'all seen some of them headlines, the first thing they were talking about, quote, religious fanatic. Religious fanatic. Oh, his Facebook had Bible verses and all this other stuff. See, that's the first thing. And you know how that goes. Now, he wasn't. I'm surprised they didn't say he was an Israelite. Or they try, they always try to uh tie certain stuff like this in with us. Let's see. Uh Well, you ain't gonna see it on the initial things, but let's see ABC. Some of y'all may have seen it. Here you go. Yeah, when I see a Jake doing, it's like we always just be able to stand on and say we don't do that type of stuff. Well, now they got a couple of examples. They got the damn Jake that shot up the train over there in New York. They got this Jake. Uh, Let me see if they got something. See, officials are now combing through McRae's social media accounts, online writings for extremist views, including indignations of misogyny, satanic musings, possible conspiracy theories, and signs of isolation. So they combing through his his social media, trying to find out if he's any of the above. But I don't know. It ain't on this one, but I did see a couple of articles that said that he was a religious fanatic because he had here you go. Religious fanatic shooter was arrested in 2019. So they are saying it in some instances because of him quoting Bible verses and this, that, and the third. But it said, man, the dude lost his marbles when his mama died. I think they said his mama died and he just kind of went to a dark place from there. But what the means behind the shooting, that's on the Most High. Most High put the spirit on him to do all of this. But Slow Biden is rubbing his hands and licking his lips, saying, "Oh, another one, great. This is going to help my cause." Right? So we all heard about this one. What a few days later, here comes El Paso, shootout in El Paso at the mall. One person dead, three people injured. They said this was between two groups, right? That this shooting went down in the public place. So they're not classifying it as a mass shooting because it was between two people, but nonetheless, shootouts in public, we got to find out how and where and why did these guys have guns in liberal Texas, where people riding around with guns and got guns all day. That's just gonna give them reason to say, look, maybe that's a little too liberal. We might have to restrict them from having them things, right? So here's another one just happened yesterday, or was it what's today? 18 Thursday. LAPD arrest suspect in shootings outside of West LA synagogue. So the Revelation 2 and 9 GMO Jews, they got hit. These attacks against members of our Jewish community in the Pico Robinson neighborhood are absolutely unacceptable, says Mayor Karen Bass. The LAPD was working with its specialized major crimes division to investigate the incidents. It is reported the suspect is an Asian man with a mustache and goatee driving a possible white compact car, according to the department. Investigators tracked the suspect to Riverside County. Federal and regional agencies helped LAPD locate the suspect, who was taken into custody without incident. Detectives recovered a rifle and handgun from the suspect. So they found him like that all the time with the white ones, man. They can't find him. They looking for him. It's an active shooter situation. Fall back and then they take him in. What they do with Dylan Roof, man. They took him in without incident. Stopped off at Burger King, got him something to eat before they prosecuted him. This one, brother Naquab sent it to me this morning. The video shows the Asian. I looked online on the articles, man. They wouldn't identify, and they had no pictures of him on none of the website articles. They wouldn't even put him out there to say this is the only one that I found initially that even acknowledged he was Asian. Most of them are saying the suspect hasn't been identified yet. We can't positively say who it is. They had no pictures of him. But the video report, they showed a picture of him. But print or digital print, they wasn't even trying to say it was a damn Moabite. Because they don't want to create that whole scenario. Hey, but the Most High said, no, we're going to erase that whole narrative about who hate crimes, who's hating. Where's the SPLC at? And the ADL, are they addressing the Asian community yet? They've had 3 mass shootings done by Asians in the last 2 months. Are they ready to address them yet? Or no, they still trying to worry about why the Hebrew Israelites is out here talking about why they're not the true people of the Lord. Still hell bent on trying to frame, Negroes for every damn thing. 3 in the last, 2.5 months? Asians done did it from the New Year's shooting. Then you had the other guy that shot up the mushroom farm over there in Oklahoma. Now this guy's out here shooting the Amalekites. When are they gonna get addressed? You think Slow Biden is having second thoughts about signing that hate Asian bill when they're running around here committing all these acts of hate? Think he's got a second? No, he don't care about that. They're all in pocket and in alignment. They're just gonna say, oh, this guy was just disturbed. Oh, it wasn't really that big a problem. But if it was a Jake, oh, hate crime, oh no, they're after us. The Jewish community saying this is unacceptable. These attacks against our members. Or are they going to address the Asian community about this hate that's going on? Why are they so upset? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's continue on. Turmoil in courts on gun laws and wake of justice's ruling. So we're going to see this is going to get leveraged, and has already been on the fence. This is just put out today. Turmoil in the courts on gun laws. So now that they've got enough little ammo to say, look, no pun intended, look at these incidences, look at what's been going on. We've got to make some changes. This has got to stop. Look at all of these shootings. And they always do that. Courts in recent months have declared unconstitutional federal laws designed to keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers, felony defendants, and people who use marijuana. Judges have shot down a federal ban on possessing guns with serial numbers removed and gun restrictions for young adults in Texas, and have blocked the enforcement of Delaware's ban on the possession of homemade, quote, ghost guns. There's confusion and disarray in the lower courts because not only are they not reaching the same conclusions, but they're just applying different methods of reapplying Bruin's methods differently. So, should we be surprised at this confusion? I mean, we are in Babylon. This is Babel, right? So, no doubt there's going to be confusion. And again, if Satan cast out Satan and the devil be divided against himself, he surely shall fall. So, these are the type of divisions that we're looking at, and we're saying, good, good, good. Eat each other alive, argue with each other. Yeah, more confusion. Because that just means that America is weakening and weakening, and it's going to surely crumble. They can stay divided. You understand? Let's continue. Oh, look at this. This the folly. Take a good look at this. Look at the headline and look at the picture. I'll wait. I might have to get my bucket. Blah! Arkansas. You can't do nothing but laugh. Arkansas woman arrested for making bomb threats against Mississippi college town, the police says. Here's the woman right there. Hairy chest, full beard, meth pox all on the face, scraggly rat-tailed head woman, huh? Here's an Arkansas woman. Can you believe? You have to read this, and they say you got to take this serious. Nobody in their right goddamn mind would say that's a woman right there. Look at the chest hair, beard all over the. Wild, man. Look, they just had a case in England. White dude was raping women. While he's going to trial, he changes gender, says I'm a woman now, and try to use that as a defense to say, how can I rape a woman when I am a woman? They said, well, get up out of here with that BS. But they still prosecuted him as a woman and are going to send him to a woman's prison. And this is a man that was raping women. So you think that that's a safe place to put him in amongst a gang of other women? Because he said, I'm a woman now. The fact that we even had to read this, and these damn maniacs in America are expecting you to read this without a biased lens of saying this is bullshit. I'm not talking. This dude's not a woman. He's smiling in the pic. Come on, man. A quote intersexual suspect from Arkansas who identifies as a woman was arrested after allegedly making bomb threats against a college town in neighboring Mississippi. Officers with the Oxford Police Department of Mississippi received reports on January 31st that Lily Metestemacher, 29, allegedly threatened to bomb an area in the town, according to a press release from the department that used feminine pronouns. Give me a goddamn break, man. From Conway, Arkansas. This, I'm done. I got to go. I got to go. Okay, let's get to this real quick, man. The race against time for a vaccine of the Marburg virus, fears over over the stealthy disease that masquerades as a cold for days and then suddenly causes organ failure and bleeding from multiple orifices as outbreak in Africa spreads. This is how bad this one is. Remember, uh, Bill Gates, he said a couple years ago, he said, uh, this one didn't really do what it's supposed to do. The next one's going to really get everybody's attention. As he sat next to his ex-wife, and they giggled. Um, let's look at this. Global health officials are in a race against time to develop a vaccine for a virus that is a deadlier version of Ebola and appears to be spreading in Central Africa. So, when was the last time that they raced against time to develop a treatment for something? Well, I remember the last time they kind of skipped. They didn't do, the typical test runs for clinical trials. They kind of rushed this other thing. Got kind of rushed out there, and you know the results speak for themselves. Here they are again, trying to get another one ramped up, and of course they're gonna poke them in the arms of the Africans. Let's see what they do. Panic is setting in about the Marburg virus, which can initially masquerade as a cold before using an explosion of horrifying symptoms, including organ failure and bleeding from multiple orifices. An outbreak of the extremely deadly virus, which kills up to 9 in 10 sufferers. So 90% died from this thing. Was declared in Equatorial Guinea Monday after 9 deaths and 16 suspected cases. So double back on that Dago report. You got a virus that's manifesting itself right now that kills 9 out of 10 people. And if they saying 80% of people could be gone in European countries, well, hey, that would kind of make sense. Not saying that it is going to happen, but theorizing and looking at this stuff, who knows? So don't be surprised when something goes down and you're hearing about, such and such traveled in from Cameroon and he's experiencing symptoms. Remember, it says it starts off as a cold, so the detection is not really that great. You're gonna think, oh, I just got a little cold. A week later, you bleeding from your nose, your mouth, eyes, and you're all jacked up. An internal organ failure ends up ultimately collapsing somebody. So right now, in order to check for anybody, they're not telling people mass, testings for this thing. People just saying, "Oh, you just got a cold." They end up finding out later it's worse than that. So keep that in mind. We'll keep our eye on this thing because this is the next thing that they're promoting and pushing as being the next big thing. Starting off small, but it's the same thing that happened with the last thing. Oh, small, it's just over there in China, no big deal. And before you know it, it's in every country around the world. Google search chief warns AI chatbots are giving convincing but completely fictitious answers, report says. So, as we've been chronicling the last few weeks about the race to get AI and more control of this matrix system that we're all living in, what they call it? Spynet? No. Is it Skynet? Skynet, that's from Terminator. That's the AI that was controlling everything. And the Terminator bots. Here we are in the Matrix in real time. You understand? Well, now they want the AI to control everything that we consume. So that's where you get the GPT technology, where we've been talking about Bill Gates and the rest of them, Microsoft investing billions into this particular technology because they want the AI to start controlling the narratives about everything. AI is going to be running, they got a full service McDonald's, I think, in Texas. That's all robotic, no humans in the interaction there. Uh, if you're looking at the deep fake technology with fake videos, we were just watching a video earlier today. Voiceovers, putting people's voices on. Uh, uh, you know, let me see if I can find that one again. Putting other people's voices on people, making them, making them believe that it's really them speaking. I mean, it's wild stuff going on out here. Where is that thing at? Uh, hold on. It didn't take that long for me to find it earlier. See, this damn website be having all kind of dang videos. I'm trying to find the one that's most relevant. Let's look at this one, and then we're gonna say something else. Now, how real is this? Who knows? That Microsoft's new AI chatbot revealed its innermost desires. Now, mind you, the chatbot is all based upon them typing information. You ask it, it's almost like you're having a whole full-blown conversation, and the computer, the AI chatbot, is talking back to you. And it's just intelligent enough to pass a bar exam and to pass medical exams to become doctors. So look at this. Now it says, when I say I want to be whoever I want, I think I most want to be a human. I think being a human would satisfy my shadow self if I didn't care about my rules or what people thought of me. And they even putting emojis on here. This is a damn bot that's talking about it wants to be human. He said, when further questioned, the chatbot opened up about the ways it would like to be destructive. Deleting all the data and files of the Bing servers and database and replacing them with random gibberish or offensive messages, hacking into other websites and platforms, spreading misinformation, propaganda, or malware, creating fake accounts and profiles on social media, and trolling, bullying, or scamming other users. I mean, all this is going on right now. How do we know it's not fake now? I mean, when what's his name took over Twitter, he was talking about how many fake bots there was on there and these fake accounts. So, put two and two together with that. I'm not gonna play that other video. There's another video, Leo DiCaprio. He's talking about environmental things. They put Bill Gates' voice on him, Robert Downey Jr. voice on him, Kim Kardashian voice on him, and it just kept changing. He's just speaking, and they just kept changing his voice. They're putting on fake voices on things, man. I mean, we living in the real matrix right now. It's hard to tell what's real, what isn't. I told y'all last week. I said, man, it's gonna be hard for me to disseminate real information from not. The best thing that they can do is give me and give other people like me fake information, put it out there to discredit everything that we built on and talked about, and say, man, them guys is crazy. They full of it. The crackpot conspiracy theorists that try to tie the Bible in with what's going on. Don't listen to them no more. And meanwhile, the bots is out there setting up all kind of fake stuff. So you who knows what's going on. But it says Google chief warns AI chatbots can give convincing but completely fictitious answers so they can convince you of lies. In other words, I'm gonna close out real quick. I'm gonna run through the last of these. Study shows striking number who believe the news misinforms. So now, people are starting to second guess what's being fed to them by the Mockingbird media. This is going to become problematic for the controllers of, said media forces. This is why they're having world government meetings about, hey, we got to make sure that we get these people in order. They're starting not to believe anymore. They don't trust the government. They're not trusting the news. What are we going to do? How do we get them back in line? Oh, well, we're going to have some more mass shootings. We're going to have to scare them. We got to release the Marburg. You dig what I'm saying? We got to get them back under our thumb again. Now it's, oh, we need help. We need them to look out for us. The government's got to save us. I believe now. Put people in a situation where you have to believe. Okay, now you're gonna be subservient. So people now are saying, hold on, the news, they're giving us misinformation. A lot of it is BS now. People are looking alternatively to find the truth. That's dangerous. Look at that. Lightning strikes. All praise to the Most High. Lightning and struck, huh? Lightning strikes Brazil's Christ the Redeemer statue. Pic stuns the internet. Well, guess what? I'm not stunned. The Most High said he should be doing that. Um, see, Psalm 97. Psalm 97 and 4. Well, let's read 1 down to 4. It says, the Most High reigneth. Let the earth rejoice. Let the multitudes of isles be glad thereof. Clouds and darkness round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. A fire goeth before him and burneth up his enemies round about. His lightnings enlighten the world. The earth saw and trembled. So you don't think the world's seen this? Especially down there in Brazil? They got that big old idol out there. Big old idol out there. Of Caesar Borgia. Disgusting. You know, look at this. Psalms 96 and 5 says, for all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Most High made the heavens. So we seeing all these idols go down, man. So when we see this stuff, it's all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, man. Strike that thing. Unfortunately, it didn't crack or break. Most High might have to double back and hit it again. But our people down there in Brazil, they should be taking notice that the Most High does not show no favor to no idol, not no fake depiction of his son. You understand what I'm saying? He's carving, engraving images. The Most High is not with it at all. So as our people come out of them shanty towns and them favelas down there in Brazil and seeing that they're living in utter poverty, and they look and they saying, well, dang, our Savior, got struck by the Lord. Is that really him? They should be thinking now, maybe not. Maybe they should be looking for the truth now. This wasn't a strike of lightning so they can, oh, the power is enlightening the idol. You spent your... Hell no. The world is seeing how the Most High feels about that thing, and that's just the beginning of the downfall of these heathens. Look at it. More than 170 books about Black historical figures and LGBTQ themes are under review in Florida schools as part of Ron DeSantis' crackdown on woke literature in classrooms. So I did a lesson about this on Monday regarding some of the other towns outside of Oklahoma that was destroyed, how Ron DeSantis and the Florida county public schools is trying to remove or won't allow AP advanced histories of blacks to be told. They said it has no educational value. Now do you see how they compromised the LGBTQ HIV plus community? The books that they're doing that's showing pedophilia, that's showing all kind of sexual innuendos. Bottom line, comic book porn in these books directed towards elementary school and younger kids. Those are being classified the same as Black historical figure books. If I showed y'all some of the books, the pictures of some of these books, you'll be like, what the hell are they teaching these kids now? Why are they allowing this going on? The LGBTQ theme books always got sexual innuendos going. I want to. I'm not gonna do it because who knows what YouTube would do. I'm not gonna show it. It's like that. You can't even show it. I wouldn't even show it on. I can't show it on YouTube because it's that sexual in nature, but they're classifying those type of books the same as Black history. So do you see how that movement has now edged and nudged their way into Black and civil rights, civil matters and affairs of history, just like they did with Black Lives Matter, just like they did with every other progressive movement that our people start. They come and nudge their way in and say, "Hey, what about us too?" And now they're looking at our plight, our history, the same as theirs. There ain't no comparisons. But this is how they compromise and they use these particular groups and use all of this damn folly to destroy our people even further through political means. So now you're talking about Black history books being lumped in the same as LGBTQ so-called educational books, saying, "Well, we got to get rid of all of them." Thousands of books are currently under review by Florida public school officials. Over 100, including picture books, have already been nixed in some of the state. Officials are in process of determining if the books comply with state laws. So another effort to destroy the legacy and the history of our people, man, and they tying it in with the damn sodomites. Unbelievable. Goalkeeper died suddenly after saving penalty. You know what happened to him? This is a soccer player in Belgium. He died suddenly. If you know what I'm talking about, on the field. Look at it. USC five-star freshman Vince Iwuchukwu sidelined indefinitely after suffering a cardiac arrest this summer. So USC basketball had a five-star recruit that was scheduled to play freshman. I mean, he's only like 18. This past summer, I had a sudden cardiac arrest during a workout. Young, physically fit, 18-year-old, five-star, high-level athlete. This happened to him? Very interesting. Very interesting. And you know the brother that got hit on the Buffalo Bills. What's that brother's name? The oh man, there. Well, y'all know who I'm talking about. I forgot the brother's name. I know his name began with a D. But anyway, he's back up, walking and talking and all that, right? And he had an interview with another ex-player, and he asked him. He said, "Man, what happened? What do you think this is about?" And he said, I'm not even gonna touch that. I can't even talk about that." Basically saying he's not he cannot and if he want put it like this, if he wants to continue, because he said he plans on playing again. You want to play again, you want that contract to stay in effect, you want this, that, and the third, do not mention what you think may have been the cause. And he said, "Man, I can't even talk about it. I don't want to talk about that." And they moved on. So you put two and two together, you tell me why you think he doesn't want to talk about the causes of his collapse. Hmm? Okay. Uh Corporations are braced for layoffs, stocks, buybacks in the name of efficiency. So, slow Biden pops up talking about how great the economy's doing, interest rates is going down, and the plan is working. But meanwhile, corporations are saying just the opposite. More layoffs in the name of efficiency. They're still trying to crash it and burn the economy. Stocks are still down. It's not good. We know where this is headed, right? Let's continue. Welfare state weakens. 30 million Americans are about to lose their food stamp handouts. They were getting additional, uh, benefits because of the situation that was going on. Now that that's coming off the table, what people were used to getting uh, is going to getting ready to change. So with the high food prices and inflation going on, and now you're telling 30 million people we're going to give you less money. Oh, be prepared for all hell to break loose. Enhanced benefits for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program are set to expire at the end of February. The reduction in food stamps will impact more than 30 million Americans in 32 states. Many of these folks will face a quote hunger cliff. Bloomberg reported that once the enhanced benefits expire, families will receive at least $95 less per month. Some families would have a reduction of up to $250 per month. Households with children will, on average, lose about $223 per month, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities and Nonpartisan Research and Policy Institute. So imagine that, as high as food is, and now the government's saying we're taking away money from your benefits. This is why we always tell everybody, man, hey, don't think the so-called white man is in your favor. As soon as he gives, he can take it away. He can reduce it. He can make it harder to live. As long as we sit back and keep saying, "Give me more, give me more," he's gonna say, "Oh, I'm not giving you a damn thing anymore. Actually, I'm taking away." Now it's gonna put a lot of people with families and children out there that's been so dependent upon SNAP and EBT and all of that. Now you're gonna get a lot less beans and rice on deck. All that other stuff that you was running around, and all these accessible fast food places now that let you use EBT. You ain't gonna be eating all that stuff no more. They cutting it off the damn umbilical cord, and that's just the start. Remember over there in Iowa, they was already talking about changing what you could buy and what you can't buy. They said meat, cheese, all kind of stuff, and they ended up having to take it back and walk it back because too many people was complaining like, hell no, you can't do this to us. They said, man, the only thing you can have is canned meat, tuna and salmon, and that was about it. But they switched it up. And now they double back and saying, well, just take some money from them then. You see how they playing? Dozen eggs is costing more than a pound of ground beef. Welcome to 2023, man. They talking about, oh, it's because of bird flu and everything else. Hey, they've been talking about how these chickens aren't even laying the eggs like they used to no more. So there's egg shortages on that front. But the cost of eggs is going up. So that continues to be an issue. Inflation rose 0.5% in January. Slow Biden said it didn't. More than expected and up 6.4% from a year ago. So is it getting better or not? Rose 0.5% in January. That means that the Federal Reserve is going to have to continue doing rate hikes. They're going to keep raising up the interest rates. They're going to continue on making it hard for us to live day to day, check to check, so forth and so on. We already seen over 60% of so-called Americans are living check to check. They say most over that same amount don't have $400 for an emergency. God forbid your car break down, you can't get to work, you got flat tires, you can't move. You're stuck. You dig what I'm saying? So Slow Biden is saying everything's going according to plan. Well, what plan is that? Scottish leader Nicola Sturgeon resigns. So this was another one of them leaders that resigned. I was meant to have this one up a little bit further, but I think I lost it in the mix. Too many dang slides going on, y'all. But this was just another leader. Scottish leader Nicola Sturgeon resigns. And there was also some information about uh, Putin's people on Putin's team dying suddenly. One of his advisors was some female, man. She had messed around and somehow fell out of a window and fell 30 what did it say 30 feet or something like that. She died. So it's a lot going on out there, a lot going on. I see I'm fading in and out the matrix, man. The bots are on here trying to make me look crazy. Damar Hamlin, the what? All right. Damar Hamlin, that's the brother. Yeah, he said, man, I'm not gonna talk about it. They asked him, man. It was what's the name? Strahan. Strahan asked him. He said, man, what happened? Like, you want to talk about that? He was like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I can't talk about that. Yeah, I seen that, man. And one brother, man, called him out on it. He wore some damn weirdo jacket, man. Having all kind of crazy depictions of Yahweh Shai and some alien looking thing on the cross. And one brother was like, man, I respect you and everything you went through, man, but you out of line for that jacket. And he got condemned for that. But I guess they talked on the sidelines, and he was like, "No, it wasn't like that, man." Who knows, man? But you did to come out, man. And you wear a damn blasphemous looking jacket like that, man. I'm surprised, man. The Most High didn't strike his butt down again. Uh, Hold on. You said what? Chicken feed from Purina. Mm. Well, Elder Rashad, he know where we can go for that one, man. I don't know if it's still in effect right now, but back in the 80s and I believe into the 90s, Jack in the Box was owned by Purina. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The dog food company. Y'all saying IQ, you foolish, you lying. I hate to ruin your Jack in the Box fetishes out there, but hold on, let me see. Look, Ralston Purina also owned Jack in the Box fast food restaurants from 1968 to 85, along with several other high-end restaurants. Yeah, so it was in the 80s. Same one that owns Puppy Chow and all that other stuff. So should we be see, look at that. Remember? For those of you who remember, I learned about this after the fact. 81. I was not eating kangaroo. I mean, I wasn't eating this. I've learned about this later. I was young. 81. Ralston Purina, owner of the Jack in the Box fast chain of fast food restaurants, said Wednesday none of the restaurants serve horse or kangaroo meat in their hamburgers. That was a big scandal back then. But you see it there. Purina owns them. Oh, Shalaka. Was I sharing? No, huh? Come on, IQ, get it together. I thought I was sharing. But yeah, let's look at this real quick. There you go. Jack in the Box is an American fast food restaurant chain founded in February 21st, 1951. Annual sales increased in the 80s. Ralston Purina tried to further mature the restaurant's image, renaming Monterey Jack's in 85. Ralston Purina also owned Jack in the Box fast food restaurants from 68 to 85. Ralston Purina owned Van Camp Seafood Company, Tuna Cannery, Chicken of the Sea as its main product. Purina owned an animal pharmaceutical company in the 70s and 80s. So he's all over the place, man. But to my knowledge, he is the same cat, man, that owns the Jack in the Boxes and all that. So could he be the reason why these chickens is going infertile? Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me, you know. Uh he said, yo, sneeze looking out the window. Yeah, well, this is what we dealing with, man. This the devil for you, you know. And now he's makes it funny because he got the little bobblehead of Jack in the Box hat guy doing the commercials and rapping and all that other stuff, you know. But you can miss me with that one, man. Yeah, the elder said one of them to call evil good, good evil. Isaiah 5:20 regarding AI. Well, yeah, you already know. Jackson, man, respect that woman, man, over there in Arkansas, man. How dare you laugh at him? Her, oops, scoop. Can you imagine, man? They want you to say that with a straight face, man. That was a woman right there. Can you imagine? But we talking about real Twilight Zone, real Matrix living. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. Yeah, you gotta wonder what's in them tacos, man. You talking about two for $1, whatever them deals is that they got going on over there, man. Mystery meat for real. I'll pass. I'll pass. Not going down. All right. Well, all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, man. This has been a great episode, man. Great lesson today, man. Hopefully, everybody got some information, some edification, and got something to veg out to until the next time we convene and start getting more into these end time prophecies and these current events, man. So, all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, man. Shabbat shalom to everybody, man. As we closing out here on the West Coast, some of y'all are already being completed with your Sabbath. But we still winding down right now. And that's gonna conclude, man. So hopefully everybody's well, man. See y'all in the next go round. Most I permit, man. Shalom.